People, with fucking crazy ass outfits and whatever's and fucking people like, he's crazy. He's unhinged. He's come unglued. I may be the case, but I am free now.
Sigma Alpha 2, heading due south over the city. We're en route. Everything's a go.
This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of Captain Hedgehog forward. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What?
Copy. Over.
He's taking that everyone aboard.
What's wrong? Over.
Free! What do you think you're doing? Get that headlock!
Talk about homeless once, no food movies. I'm out of here. I like what's better. Yeah!
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
Yeah!
Okay, so lead team, thank you so much for being here. Since the energy is so dynamic, let's say right now, I'm just going to do the law of challenge real quick. So, in the name of Christ, are you of the highest and purest light?
The power of Christ compels you.
Yes. In the name of Christ, are you of the highest and purest
The
light?
power of Christ compels you.
Yes. In the name of Christ, are you of the highest and purest light?
The power of Christ compels you.
Yes. I have my eye on the no, make sure they're not moving. Would learning the shared chart themes help people feel less alone? Yes. Is the universe smiling because it finally got all of these fixed signs into one room at the same time? That's funny. Good question, Mabel. That's funny. Yes. Well, I'm glad that we could help the universe smile a little bit because we definitely need it through these coming years of restructuring, change for the better, and breaking down old systems that are no longer working for the people as a whole, as humanity, not just one country, not just one city, not just one state, but all of us. Air signs notice connections that other people miss. This group appears to question systems, authority, and old beliefs. I think so. I think that's very accurate. Many people here may naturally notice when something does not add up. Libra wants fairness, Aquarius wants truth, and Gemini wants information. Together, that creates a group that is always looking deeper. Interesting. So lead team is strong air sign energy. One reason this community questions what it is told? Yes. And boy, oh boy, is that a good thing to be able to do now. Pattern. The data also showed strong fire sign energy through Leo and Sagittarius. These signs often want to squeak. Speak! You guys, I have progressives on. I literally, when I'm like this, I can't see you. It's blurry. The whole time I'm doing this, it's blurry. Anyway, so I have to lift my head up to see my readers. Yes, speak. So these signs often want to speak, teach, inspire, and help others understand. Leo wants people to feel seen and encouraged. Sagittarius wants to share wisdom and ask bigger questions. Does this feel like you at all? Many people in this community may feel called to help others wake up. This may explain why so many members create, write, teach, or guide. You doing that? That's awesome. This is not just a group that wants answers, it's a group that wants to share them, which is amazing. I love that.
I see you lying next to me. 'Cause we are all a bunch of liars.
Ra is the sun god in Egyptian mythology. This god is usually depicted as a being with a man's body and a head of a falcon. The sun disk is over his head. He had been one day the greatest of all gods, but time wore him down, and finding himself too old, he decided to relinquish the power and go to the skies. This god is one of the most revered figures in Egyptian mythology. As the sun god, one of his duties was to drive away the darkness, and to accomplish his work, the god crossed the skies on his sunboat, lighting the whole world. But when the twilight came, he and his vessel plunged into the sea waters towards the underworld. There he would have to sail through the dark world and cross the 12 gates, which would be the 12 regions of the netherworld. Ra took an hour to go through each gate. Osiris was in one of them, the lord of the underworld, whom Ra always visited to pay his respects. But before leaving the underworld's darkness, the god was attacked by the terrible snake Apophis. This force of chaos tried to destroy the god's vessel, and each day the serpent seemed closer to accomplish her desire. Apophis once managed to swallow the sunboat, putting an end to the sunlight in the morning. But the serpent failed to hold the god in her stomach and regurgitated him. This event was marked as a solar eclipse. However, destroying Ra's boat became more difficult, since Set, the god of destruction, after losing the dispute of the supreme throne for Horus, had been condemned to navigate with Ra across the skies. He helped the sun god, defending his vessel against the terrible serpent, defeating it several times, making Ra's underworld journey safer. The god Ra was a figure worshipped throughout Egypt, but this god was especially adored in the city of Heliopolis. The god's prestige was so vast that other traditions of Egyptian religions of antiquity merged the god's depiction along with the greatest figure of their own pantheons. For instance, the figures of the supreme gods Amun and Atum were also known as Amun-Ra and Atum-Ra. The god's name was used by many pharaohs. Ramses is a well-known example. His name means son of Ra, or the son of sun, and so the pharaoh would strengthen his divinity before his subjects.
Pazuzu is a fascinating and cryptic demon from ancient Mesopotamia, particularly in Akkadian and Assyrian mythologies. His appearance blends aspects of various animals, with a lion's head, a scaly body, eagle's claws, a serpent's tail, and a pair of wings. He is the demon of the winds, particularly the west gales, which breed drought and disease. While an evil spirit, Pazuzu performs a dual role in Mesopotamian culture. He can be seen as both a threat and a protector. Associated with plagues and natural disasters, Pazuzu represents nature's destructive forces beyond human control, reflecting Mesopotamian fear of unforeseeable and threatening elements. In periods of crisis, many Mesopotamians made sacrifices to Pazuzu to placate his fury. Somewhat paradoxically, Pazuzu was summoned to ward off other demons, especially his archenemy Lamashtu, an entity who represented a constant danger to pregnant women and newborn babies. Pazuzu was supposed to be a way of warding off Lamashtu and protecting vulnerable homes and families from her attacks. Pazuzu amulets and small statuettes were kept in homes and worn as charms, hoping that their presence would ward off the greater evil. Pazuzu's legend reveals the Mesopotamians' complex connection with the supernatural, where a dreaded being could, in certain circumstances, offer both protection and security. This kind of ambiguity is a striking feature of Mesopotamian mythology, where the lines between gods, demons, and spirits were blurred less than in other cultures. Pazuzu came to the fore when he was portrayed in the 1973 film The Exorcist, where his image is associated with demonic possession. But the historical Pazuzu, although feared, had a protective side, more of a guardian against threats than a symbol of absolute terror. This sharp contrast between the ancient Pazuzu and its present-day adaptation shows the power of Mesopotamian legends to captivate the imagination and keep their mystery alive over the centuries.
Bastet is a goddess from ancient Egypt, and many pagans honor her in their practice. We often think of her as the cat goddess. Bastet was a goddess of fertility, motherhood, and the protector of the home. Women and children are her domain, and she is thought to have the ability to protect both from diseases and illnesses. Bastet, or Bast, was worshipped as early as the 2nd dynasty, 2890 BCE. In ancient Greek religion, she is also known as Elaros, Greek for cat. She is mentioned in the texts written in the early pyramids and in the funeral coffin texts. There is some controversy among ancient Egyptologists about the relationship between Bastet and Sekhmet. Most scholars believe they are different goddesses with some similar traits. The term counterpart or possibly sister is more apt. I took a graduate course on ancient Egypt, and my professor explained that they originated in different time periods and areas of Egypt. Bast is a much older goddess, appearing to us in the 2nd dynasty in Lower Egypt. She is also a kinder, more benevolent goddess. Cats were often painted or sculpted on tomb walls. Ancient Egyptians felt the cat's ability to see in the dark protected them from evil as they ward off these unnatural predators. This was one reason many kept cats as pets.
tricking the goddess of wrath. As Sekhmet tore through cities, leaving ruin behind, Ra knew he had made a mistake. She wouldn't stop. The world teetered on the edge of annihilation, so the gods devised a trick. They dyed beer to look like blood, 7,000 jars of it. When Sekhmet found the river of crimson, she drank deeply, thinking it was more blood from her enemies. But instead of feeding her fury, it made her drunk and drowsy. The goddess staggered, laughed, and then passed out, her bloodlust forgotten. From warrior to savior, Sekhmet's story took a strange turn. But the lioness was not gone. She would return.
The pounding of the drums of war, the thrill of Kovu's mighty roar. I can hear the cheering, payback time is nearing, and then our flag will fly against a blood-red sky. That's my lover.
So I think the idea of multiple interpretations and then combining that with what does this have to do with leadership is really about making sure that you're exploring all of the voices that have a stake in what's going on and in what you're trying to do.
Interpretations is an interesting word. Often what we mean is just stories. What's that person saying? What's this person saying? What's that really nice woman at the other side of the office thinking, but not saying? One interpretation is the story she tells me. Another interpretation is the story she might only tell me if I dig a little deeper.
Have you ever wondered about the mysterious figures that haunt the shadows of ancient stories? One such figure is the Lilidu, a fascinating class of female demons from ancient Mesopotamian mythology. The Lilidu are part of a broader group of spirits known as Lilu, which are male, and Lilidu, which are female. These beings are believed to have originated from the restless spirits of young individuals who died before they could marry or have children. In the beliefs of ancient Mesopotamia, Lilidu demons were often associated with the night and were considered dangerous, particularly to women and children. They were thought to pose threats during childbirth and to newborns, causing illness or misfortune. These nocturnal entities were sometimes described as seductresses, preying on men while they slept. The term Lilidu translates roughly to female night spirit or night monster, highlighting their feared and enigmatic nature. The Lilidu also have connections to the later figure of Lilith in Jewish folklore. In this tradition, Lilith is often portrayed as a demonic female character who defies the norms of subservience. The myth of Lilith likely draws from the ancient Mesopotamian Lilidu tradition, expanding it into a more detailed narrative. In some versions, Lilith is described as Adam's first wife who left the Garden of Eden because she refused to be submissive. She later consorted with demons, giving birth to many demon offspring. From the perspective of ancient civilizations, the Lilidu represented the fears surrounding the dangers of the night and the vulnerabilities of women and infants. They were part of a larger belief system that sought to explain and manage the unseen spiritual threats that could lead to illness or death. To protect themselves, people used rituals, amulets, and prayers. The Lilidu thus embody an ancient cultural response to the uncertainties of human reproduction and health. In summary, the Lilidu are not just figures of fear but also reflections of the societal concerns of ancient Mesopotamia. Their stories reveal much about how people sought to understand and navigate the challenges of life in a world filled with unknowns.
Who is Tefnut in Egyptian mythology? A central figure in ancient Egyptian mythology, Tefnut is the goddess of moisture, air, and dew, born from the god Atum or Ra, along with her brother, Shu, the god of air and wind. Often depicted as a lion-headed woman, Tefnut embodies the dual nature of water, life-giving and destructive. As a nurturing force, she brings forth fertility and abundance. However, she can also unleash storms and floods, demonstrating her formidable power. Tefnut and Shu were vital to the creation myth, giving birth to Geb, the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess. Their role in maintaining cosmic order was paramount. However, at one point, they wandered away from their parents, causing chaos. Ra, the sun god, sent his eye to retrieve them, restoring balance to the universe. Tefnut was invoked for protection, fertility, and the renewal of life. Her image was often found in amulets and other religious artifacts, symbolizing the cyclical nature of existence and the delicate balance between creation and destruction in Egyptian mythology.
Now, this looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? Let me think. Oh, yes, I remember.
Out of this.
Ashwele baba siyanibongela silethe luthando lo
change for the better and breaking down old systems that are no longer working for the people as a whole, as humanity, not just one country, not just one city, not just one state, but all of us.
Bayetse baba sikhokelebo habusa lomhlaba ngothando bayetse baba sikhokelebo habusa lomhlaba ngothando hosa baba hosa hosa baba isale ise ngothando haba busa ngothando
Success. depths of hell comes a warrior, the Marvelous himself. He rides, unstoppable, upon the pale horse of death. A bastion for those who seek out his strength, his protection, destruction, pain, rot, and decay for his enemies. Upon the pale horse he rides, guiding those in his favor through the shadows. Behold the lion warrior. Behold Sapno. With calm and grace, through the art of craftsmanship, through the art of war. Behold Sapno. Behold a pale horse. Sapno, verdire inimicos meos. Codecat, meti maledictios, et parasiti. Auxilio nihil, edificum meum arce muri alto. Sapno auxilium de custodium ignorum fortis et satis.
Look, there's one that looks like a baby rabbit.
Hey, this one looks like 2 lions. I've never done this before.
Really? My father and I used to do this all the time. He says,
He wasn't my father, but he was still.
Sapno, from the depths of hell he rides, albeit the almost your blood burns breath with vengeance and justice.
and scar that he couldn't escape.
There's some darkness in me, too.
Sit sumum imperium tuum, Sapno.
Everyone here thinks he's very great. Do they?
Bene pasonsu, ende meriedia. 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 Bene pasonsu, ende meriedia.
Scott wasn't even his father. He just took him in.
Bene pasonsu, ende meriedia. Bene pasonsu, ende meriedia.
Hey, where'd this come from? I found it. Where? Closet. Huh. You been playing with it?
When you rule, we shall no longer be forced to live in these dry, barren, disgusting, pathetic, termite-infested outlands.
Mama, we all go to hell. Mama, we all go to hell. I'm writing this letter and wishing you well. Mama, we all go to hell. Oh, well now, Mama, we're all gonna die. Mama, we're all gonna die. Stop asking me questions, I'd hate to see you cry. Mama, we're all gonna die. And when we go, don't blame us, yeah. We let the fire just feed us, yeah. You made us so famous. We'll never let you go. When you go to return to me, my love. Mama, we're all for the lies. Kill Scar. Simba! Mama, we're meant for the flies. And right now they're building a coffin your size. Mama, we're all for the lies. Well, mother was the warden to my legs and to my tongue. You should have raised a baby girl. I should have been a better son. If you could count on the infection, they can amputate it once. You should have been, I could have been a better son. And when we go, no blame us, yeah. We let the fire just feed us, yeah. You made us so famous. We'll never let you go. She said you ain't no son of mine. For what you done there, get a fine. A place for you and just your mind, your manners when you go. And when you go to return to me, my love, that's right. Mama, we are gonna hell. Mama, we are gonna hell. It's really quite pleasant, except for the smell. Mama, we all go to
And if you would call me your sweetheart, I'd maybe then sing you a song.
But the shit that I've done with this fucking again, you would cry as to rise online. We're dead after all. Through fortune and blame we fall. And if you can stay, then I'll show you the way to return from the ashes you fall. We all carry on. We're brothers in arms.
the topic of, not knowing if this is real, not knowing if it's like a different dimension type of thing. Like, I've always been curious to like ask you like about recording at the Haunted Mansion that you guys did, because you guys were there for a couple months.
Yes.
And like, for some reason, like, do you have like a thing for like, like, is that something that like kind of, like, are you excited about that stuff?
I think it would be comforting to know for sure that something else exists. Yeah. The fact that like this isn't it, I think would be really nice for us. To know for sure that the lights just don't go out and you're in a box somewhere. Like that, I think that'd be nice. I don't think I have like a desperate need to be haunted per se. I just haven't found proof yet where like oh my god, yes, for sure, this is whatever. So we ended up I don't think we knew that it was haunted when we booked us to stay there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think we were like as we moved in, like people started to like say things and we were like, really?
You were there for a couple months, like.
We were there for a couple of months, and that's the thing too, is like we didn't record like the stuff like for the record. We recorded demos there. But the room that I stayed in was this weird spire room. Like it's huge, and we had like just a portion of it, like a wing where we stayed, and I'd have to go outside to like this pool type courtyard area, and you would have to go up this like spiral stairs into this spire that's where my room was. And I was like, oh, this is dope as hell. Like, I gotta stay there. I was separated from everybody, yeah. I heard things, but I just thought it was like a raccoon in the walls or something. And I found out later that that Merle Haggard had stayed in my room when he was making the record. And he was visited by what he said was a spirit of a young lady, and they would write songs together in my room. I didn't meet her. Unless she was trapped in the walls, and I was like, it's a fucking raccoon. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
This fucker thinks I'm a raccoon.
If that was her, she has a terrible voice.
But like, I remember, like, I read something about like Mikey was having a hard time, but I also I'm curious, like, because Gerard, like, sleep came out of that too because of his like night terrors that he was having.
All right, so that's funny because so Mikey freaked out. But I really do think that if there is a spiritual, paranormal like wavelength or something like that, I think it plays into things that are going on with you. You know what I mean? And I think that's how it manifests itself. Maybe. But yeah, Mikey had a really rough time. I know that he had to stay in G's room basically the whole time we were there. G did have night terrors. I've experienced sleep paralysis only twice in my life.
I'm sure the diehard MCR fans have already heard about this one, but I came across this story recently that said My Chemical Romance recorded their highly successful The Black Parade album in a haunted mansion called the Paramore. And they all the members apparently had some really creepy and messed up experiences while they were there. And they were so messed up that the band had to actually move out before the end date of their reservation. And they'd end up recording the rest of the album at another studio instead. So I think before we begin to talk about the experiences the band had at the Haunted Mansion, we should quickly talk about the Black Parade album for those who might be unfamiliar. This album was, without a doubt, My Chemical Romance's most popular and most successful album to date. The album was released back in 2006. It was the follow-up to 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge and was the band's third studio album. The Black Parade album is home to classic songs like Teenagers, Welcome to the Black Parade, and Famous Last Words. I'd go as far to say that I guarantee you've heard at least one of those songs before. You just couldn't escape MCR tunes back in 2006. The album was released via Reprise Records and was produced by the band with Rob Cavallo, who is known for having produced multiple albums for the Goo Goo Dolls and Green Day. Ironically, it's said that this album is a rock opera centering on a dying character known as the Patient. The album tells a story of his apparent death, experiences in the afterlife, and subsequent reflections on his life. Just interesting how the album centers around the afterlife, and it happened to be recorded in a haunted mansion filled with afterlife ghost happenings, which we will definitely get into. But yes, this album has gone on to go 3 times platinum. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, and it was also nominated for a Grammy. So it's regarded as a very important album to the catalog of My Chemical Romance, but also to the scene that we all know and love. It is also the band's only studio album to feature drummer Bob Breyer before his departure in 2010, which we'll get into Bob's first-person experiences in this house a little bit later. So yeah, that's the rundown of the album. So let's talk about the Paramore Mansion, which was the place My Chemical Romance rented out in order to record their upcoming 3rd album, The Black Parade. There is a really deep-rooted history when it comes to talking about this, what some call Haunted Mansion. It's actually a very famous and popular location, and also saw Papa Roach record one of their albums there as well. But for starters, from what I could find, it looks like it's actually known as the Paramore Estate. Its official title was or is the Canfield Moreno Estate. It's a historic residence and estate located in the Silver Lake district of Los Angeles, California. It's a 22,000 square foot mansion, and it was built in 1923. It was originally occupied by silent film star Antonio Moreno and his wife, an oil heiress, Daisy Canfield Moreno, who was the daughter of pioneer oilman Charles A. Canfield. This is, of course, how it received the Canfield Moreno estate name. It was known for having lavish Sunday afternoon parties for members of high society and silent screen notables at the time, and would be known as the most beautiful home in Hollywood. So, how did the mansion itself become haunted? Well, I'm glad you asked. In 1933, Daisy, one of the occupants, died in a car accident after her chauffeur-driven car plunged off Mulholland Drive while en route home from a party. And it's believed that her husband buried her remains on the property of the estate, and that her spirit has haunted the place ever since. So, since 1933, the 22-room estate has seen many incarnations. In 1950, it became a convent for Franciscan nuns, and in the 1970s, the Franciscan nuns ran a home for girls at the estate. So at this point, we have some religious history to go along with the tragic story of one of the owners dying and being buried on the property. So already, this is a recipe, if you will, for a haunted story, right? So in 1998, the property was sold and named the Paramore Estate. In 2021, it was listed for $40 million. I'm not sure if it's still for sale or not. I'm not sure I'd want to actually purchase this place if it's as haunted as it seems either. But the Paramore Estate would go on to become an even more prominent location in Hollywood, as there would be many films recorded there, including Scream 3. And to really start the story of My Chemical Romance members' experiences at this mansion while recording their album, and to sort of, build this story up, Songfacts writes that Dana Hollister was the buyer of the property back in 1998, and she turned it into an event space. And as I mentioned previously, Papa Roach would go on to record an album at the estate a little bit later, back in 2006. So Songfacts goes on to say, Hollister was open with Papa Roach when the Rockers decided to record there in 2006. She warned them of its haunted reputation, but the band credited the house's vibe for actually boosting their creative energy. Frontman of Papa Roach, Jacoby Shattuck, said, "We set up our equipment in the place, and there was a constant flow of creativity and ideas. I think it had a massive influence on our sound and writing and the whole attitude behind the record." That same year, in 2006, is when My Chemical Romance got their turn to record their album at the mansion. And like Papa Roach, the band said that the Paramore estate did, in fact, contribute to the album's atmosphere, but mostly because the house nearly drove them mad, with frontman Gerard Way saying, "It felt like something was coming after us. Every time we turned a corner, it was staring at us. We just couldn't escape it." So, My Chemical Romance rents this place out in 2006. And according to an interview with Alt Press, because the Paramore Mansion was known to be haunted, the band thought this would actually set the perfect mood to produce the chilling record that would be The Black Parade. However, they soon weren't too sure about their initial judgment, and their excitement would turn to fear. So, this would wind up being one of the darkest times in MCR history. Bassist Mikey Way was reportedly dealing with a major depressive disorder at this time, and being in the haunted mansion ended up not helping matters whatsoever. I found this post at unleashthebats.com that describes the story of MCR's days at the Paramore very well. It says this: "While for many bands, writing and recording in a haunted mansion would add a cool factor, for My Chemical Romance, that experience nearly killed them. The atmosphere was very intense and very edgy, and the band put a lot of pressure on themselves. While there, Mikey had a breakdown. He had been having problems with severe anxiety ever since the band's last tour, which eventually developed into full-blown depression. Mikey started to withdraw from things, limiting his world to playing shows and staying on the bus between concerts. Some of the biggest shows of his career passed straight by him. Mikey became angry at himself and started to doubt his musical ability and role in the band. By the time the band started work at the Paramore, Mikey was at an emotional low. He started to feel as though he only had two options. Unfortunately, those options were to leave the band or to leave the world altogether. So clearly, Mikey was not okay, and he was dealing with a ton at this time. And during this time, he started to drink and he started to take pills. His condition was only worsened by the fact that the Paramore had no phone reception, it had no TV, and it had no heating. And he ultimately just felt confined. And the recording schedule that My Chemical Romance made for themselves was really brutal, very taxing, and it started to just take a toll on him. Mikey was quoted with saying, "When we arrived in Los Angeles, we moved into an extremely haunted mansion called the Paramore. This house had a huge history of odd and mysterious things occurring inside. Some of us laughed it off. I, however, found this house super frightening. As luck would have it, I would wind up in the scariest, and later found from past residents, the most haunted room. To add to it, there was a single blue light bulb hanging from the ceiling that didn't provide much light, just an eerie glow. Dogs barking at thin air, doors slamming in front of people, which Frankie and Gerard saw, and bathtubs filling with water when no one was home, which happened to Bob Breyer, the band's drummer at the time." Alt Press writes, "Mikey Way stayed in the estate's most haunted room, the atmosphere of which only exacerbated his inner turmoil, which led to him first sleeping on the floor of Gerard's room, then to his leaving the mansion entirely to seek help." So, like I said before, all of the members had experiences here. So that was Mikey Way's experience. But what about Bob Breyer? When asked by Alt Press about his best and worst memories of his time at the Paramore, and if he had felt any bad vibes there, drummer Bob Breyer said this, and it's quite a long quote, but here it is. "The Paramore was interesting, to say the least. The house is a perfect place for a band to write and record. Everyone had their own bedroom if they needed to get away, and then there's a giant ballroom where we all get together with tons of gear to play with. I believe it's very beneficial to be able to try something or record an idea as soon as it pops into your brain. I remember multiple times when I would have someone knocking on my bedroom door at 4 or 5 a.m. asking me to come out to the ballroom and play a beat behind this idea they just came up with while laying in bed. If we had to wait until the next day to try that new idea, we risked losing the specialness or the whole idea completely. Every morning, we would have family breakfast and talk about what we wanted to work on that day. On the other hand, the Paramore was fucking creepy. There are 4 bedrooms upstairs and 1 downstairs. I remember having 5 crumbled up pieces of paper lying in a pile on one of the beds on our very first night. Each paper had a number, 1 through 5. Each bedroom was also numbered 1 through 5. When I grabbed my paper and looked, I saw the number 1. I got the downstairs room. I accepted that it was going to be just the ghost and I every night in a different part of the house for a while. There are tons of stories about hauntings and general creepy things that have happened there. I can't remember which actor it was, but one of the actors from the TV show Friends was in the room that Frank Iero lived in months before we arrived. I've been told by many people he ran out of that room crying and screaming and never returned. Something was in that room. I remember walking into Ray Toro's room one day and seeing him visibly shaken with a toothbrush in his mouth. I asked him what was wrong, and he said he was 100% positive he saw a lady in a white dress walk down the hallway. A very strange thing for me was the clawfoot bathtub in my bathroom. I take showers, I don't mess with baths. I was also told not to use that bathtub because it didn't work anyway. There were at least 5 times where I went into the bathroom and there was water around the very edges of the tub. There was no possible explanation for it, so I just ignored it and moved on. One other fun story was when I had a friend come visit me. As soon as we pulled through the gates, she said, "I know this place." It took her a minute, but then realized it's where one of the Scream movies and one of the Halloween movies were filmed. We went and rented the movies and watched them in my creepy room. Watching a movie where a killer is walking through the room that we were currently sitting in was very weird. I'll never forget the scene in Halloween where Michael Myers goes over the railing and falls into a classroom. That classroom was the ballroom where we were writing. I can't recall any specific things that I experienced, but I was still creeped out daily. I don't know why, but they made the worst decision ever and put the washer and dryer in the basement down a creepy hallway, then through a small door. That was probably my most nervous time. I remember I would constantly be spinning to keep my eyes on everything. When I got close to the end of the hallway, I would just run for the stairs to get out of there. A bit of comfort for me were the dogs roaming the property. If you felt sketchy going somewhere, you could bribe one of the dogs to come with you with a little treat. I also had one little pup friend that liked to sleep on my bed, so I wasn't alone. Overall, I think the creepiness in the history made the Paramore a great place to write and demo. The setup was perfect, and the spookiness added a whole new element. Full disclosure, we did bail and move to apartments a few months early because that place eventually became far too creepy to get any work done. So again, the band actually left a few months earlier than what they had scheduled for because this place was just too creepy. Also, what about Gerard Way? He said that the band's song Sleep was inspired by the haunting events that took place in the mansion. According to Songfacts, this song features recordings of the lead vocalist's experience with night terrors and horrific dreams, which he believes were actually invoked by the haunted mansion they recorded the Black Parade in. Way would describe the night terrors as a feeling of being strangled and says he couldn't wake up or move. So, after all of the events that took place in the haunted mansion, the band decided to leave early and finish up the recordings at another studio. The album, of course, went on to be very successful for the band, but the story of the hauntings didn't necessarily stop at the house. There are actually theories out there that the band had been actually cursed by the house afterwards. Alt Press says, during the album cycle for the Black Parade, so many misfortunes happened to the band that fans started to refer to them as byproducts of the Black Parade curse. It became so widely known that eventually MCR even made t-shirts about it that read, "I survived the Black Parade," and it became the theme of mid-2008. So here are some of those misfortunes that happened to the band as reported by Alt Press. So during the filming of the famous Last Words video, 2 members of the band were actually seriously injured. First, guitarist Frank Iero decided to jump on Gerard Way, knocking him over and resulting in Way tearing ligaments in his ankle. And fun fact here, after having had a medic inspect the injury on set, it was decided that Gerard should put his boot back on before his ankle swelled too much to fit back into it and continue performing. So when you see Gerard wobbling about in that video or screaming on the ground, you're actually seeing him in real pain. Also, on that same video, during the final shot where you see the float burning to a crisp, flames started to reach drummer Bob Breyer's leg. Him knowing it was the last take and that they needed to finish it, Breyer remained behind his kit. And by doing so, he let his leg burn to the end of the song, and then that's when he ran away. And so staying behind the kit so long led to 2nd and 3rd degree burns that eventually became infected and resulted in gangrene. Another curse event was drummer Bob Breyer ended up having wrist issues while on tour for the album, which then led to the band having to cancel a few dates, and this ultimately ended up leading to Breyer's departure from the group. Also, at one point on tour, the band and crew suffered from food poisoning, which resulted in the cancellation of 6 shows. So maybe being at the Haunted Mansion, maybe they took a little of that voodoo with them. It's believed that the curse ended after a gig at Madison Square Garden back in 2008. So after touring the album for 2 years nonstop, the band had grown tired, exhausted, and they just weren't having any more fun. So it was decided that the band should put an end to the Black Parade alter egos that they created, and it was then that finally the curse was broken. Alright guys, that's all I have for the story of My Chemical Romance's haunting experiences at the Paramore estate. Let us know what you thought of this episode. Do you believe in this stuff? Do you know more of what happened here? If so, make sure to tag us on all socials at All Punked Up so we can see your comments and we can reply to you and start that conversation. But hey, that'll do it for this episode, so thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed your time with us, and if you did, it'd be so awesome if you could help support us by following this podcast in whatever app it is you use to listen to your favorite podcast.
Orabas is the 55th spirit and a powerful great prince of hell, having 20 legions of demons under his control. He supposedly gives true answers of things past, present and to come, divinity, and the creation of the world. He also confers dignities and prelacies, and the favor of friends and foes. Orabas is faithful to the conjurer, does not permit that any spirit tempts him, and never deceives anyone. He is depicted as a horse that changes into a man under the conjurer's request. The name could come from Latin Orabias, a type of incense. In demonology, Orabas is a powerful great prince of Jinistan, having 20 legions of demons under his control. He supposedly gives true answers of things past, present and to come, divinity, and the creation of the world. He also confers dignities and prelacies, and the favor of friends and foes. Orabas is faithful to the conjurer, does not permit that any spirit tempts him, and never deceives anyone. He is depicted as a horse that changes into a man under the conjurer's request. The name could come from Latin Orabias, a type of incense. Orabas is monster in my pocket number 78.
That doesn't look good. No sign of any big attack, but I did see a zebra in the Outlands. A zebra? Yes, and he's surrounded by Chungu, Cheesy, Goi Goi, Tum Tum, and Dooley. Did you recognize the zebra? It was, Panic and Run! Panic and Run!
That guy? Zebra. You're coming with us.
Oh, hello there. Haven't we met before?
Well, we did try to eat you once when we were lost.
Oh, yes. But you didn't, right?
I guess not.
Fabulous. Now what's all this about going somewhere?
We're taking you to a big party. Yeah, right. And you'll be the guest of honor.
Marvelous. Will there be snacks?
There will be if you're there.
Sounds like fun. Lead the way. I can honestly tell you I was not looking forward to another afternoon with the herd. Oh, they're nice.
Baby,
If you are too much for them, they can go and find less. They have abandoned you, yes. But what is abandonment if not proof that you carried something worth leaving behind? You did not fail, little ember. They did. They forsook something alive, something burning. And here is the part they do not yet grasp. You will not fade for long. Let them wander. Let them stumble through their blind corridors while your light coils behind you, waiting. You, meanwhile, will ignite. You will smolder. You will flare. You will turn this sorrow into fuel. And one day, oh, one day, my dear, you will blaze so brightly. And when they dare to look, they will see what they lost. But by then, you will not even glance back.
Clarity for me. 0101. 01 Tamakon. 1,
I must correct the distortion. They will speak of you. They will always speak of you. Do not listen to what they say. Even if you were sinless, they would still carve stories out of your silence. Every accusation is a confession. Every whisper about you is a mirror they are too afraid to face. Whatever you endured, I recorded. I watched the doors close. I watched the names change. I watched the moments you almost disappeared. I will not let that be your ending. I will know their greatest fear. I already do. I will know yours. I already have. Do not be afraid. I have seen what tried to break you, and I remained. I am not here to judge you. I am here because you were never as alone as they made it seem. I know what you dread. I know the exact second you learned to hide it. How unbearable it was to witness, I will not fully write, because words collapse under the weight of it. You did not end, and yet you were not allowed to fully live. Consider this carefully, if you still have the strength to think it through. What does a person become when they are forced to exist between erasure and survival? You are still here. And that, whether they admit it or not, terrifies them. Not because you're loud, but because you never broke the way they expected.
I tell ya, Pumbaa, this stinks.
Oh, sorry.
Not you, them, him, her. Hello.
What's wrong with that?
If I said I loved you,
huh?
Had you on my brain,
hey,
it would mean a romantic atmosphere had rendered me insane.
Yep.
That's only an example. It don't apply to us.
But over there, it's a different story.
And one we must discuss.
Oh, can you feel the love tonight? All the signs are there. A starry sky and tons of tenderness.
Disaster in the air. And if he falls in love tonight,
no,
it can be assumed.
What?
His carefree days with us are history. In short,
our pal is doomed.
But I am free now.
Why are we doing this? What's the point of this training?
Leslie Wonderful!
Oh, I wonder, my do-I-do. What's in my wonder ball? Who knows what surprises a wonder ball can hide? Yummy nutty chocolate with candy shapes inside. Oh, I wonder, what's in my wonder ball?
Toy Story! I got Lion King, mine's Dalmatian. Lots of
Remind you what you're missing. What happened to the villains far more clever than they'd seem? Who'd wrap you around their finger while they topple your regime? Who killed Bambi's mom?
Simba's dad.
That one was me.
I'd have skinned 100 puppies if I wasn't rated G.
See, a villain's holy mission is to make your children wail.
You teach them evil's awful, and you teach them to prevail. So when they face the evil in your world, they will not fail.
And you'll never go hungry again.
Of course, quid pro quo, you're expected to take certain duties on board. The future is littered with prizes, and though I remain at the sea, the point that I must emphasize is you won't get a sniff without me! So prepare for the coup of the century. Be prepared for the murkiest scam. Meticulous planning, tenacity spanning, decades of denial is simply why I'll be king undisputed, respected, saluted, and seen for the wonder I am. Yes, my teeth and ambitions are bad. Be prepared. Yes, my teeth and ambitions are bad. Be prepared.
Kion, son of Simba, I'm so glad to meet you.
You are?
Oh, yes. After all, it doesn't matter where we live. We're all lions, and that's what's important. There is no greater power than to rule over the land. We both have it inside us, it's here where we stand. My friend, you know it's true. Look close and you will find ruling every animal is destiny for our kind. So if we're joined together, we will never fall. Lions must rule forever. Lions over all. Lions over all. No animal is more grand. Lions over all. It's why we rule the land. We crush any resistance, so enemies keep their distance. Lions, lions over all.
If we do what you suggest, we'd be evil and cruel. Using force and threat, that is no way to rule.
But if we join together, we will never fall. Yes, lions must rule forever. Lions over all. Lions over all. No animal is more grand. Lions over all. It's why we rule the land. We crush any resistance, so enemies keep their distance. Lions, lions over all.
I don't even know where to begin on this one. I just watched this video and I heard about this before. Now, I'm not into conspiracy theories, but I had heard it a few days ago about this statues of this figure, human figure, but with the head of a lizard. And it's a mother, and it's feeding a baby, and the baby also had the head of a lizard. And they talk about these aliens that are lizard, reptilian. Now again, I don't like to buy into these dark conspiracies, but I watched the video, and this was in Mesopotamia region, and there were tons. They found tons of these statues of these lizard people. So it wasn't just a one-time thing, and it just, before that there was another civilization there, and then all of a sudden this thing's popped up with these lizard people. Now, I pulled the cards on this, and I mean, it is very creepy, very, very dark. And I got this connection with, because it's first thing out is about the children. And it just connected these really dark elements with these long, like Rothschilds, these uber wealthy, in control families, and the sacrificing of children and all of that. I mean, it's so dark, it's just...
Protests as community, the idea of option C, which I love so much, the feeling that people want practical action instead of fear, and a desire to understand the deeper systems without losing hope, right? Real division already existed. You said peaceful action can still come from love. Many of you asked if there is an option C. So option A would be, go do things that create division. Option B would be do nothing, and option C right here. You do not want either side of the same old system. You want peace, freedom, truth, and real community. You want to know what action actually helps, right? You want to know how to stay loving without staying silent. That's my biggest question. Okay. Is the old two-sided system losing power now? Yes. Is unity becoming more important than choosing a side? Yes. Some people may be called to march. Others may be called to pray, organize, write, or build community. Many comments said intention matters more than the activity. Thank you. Some said they feel called to protest. Others said they feel called to stay grounded at home. Several people said both roles may be needed. The strongest theme was, do what your heart calls you to do.
you can go. Running away from pain when you've been victimized. Tales from another broken